I am pleased to introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Virginia Ginni Rometty.
Okay. Thank you. Let me put my glasses on and let me thank you very much for this award. And I have to say that first, thank you, President Snyder. Thank you, Provost Poon, Executive Vice President Scarborough, and then as well, Father Siebert. You did a wonderful introduction, just like my mother would have done, okay? So I am truly honored to be here on this special occasion, and this is a beautiful campus, I have to say. What I would have loved to go to school at a place like this. And I'm glad to see that the rain has parted, and we have a beautiful day. I know I should probably first apologize to those of you that thought you were going to get Martin Sheen. And I am not his age either. And so I just want you to know it has been a real privilege. It is really something when I think about everyone around me here, when it is the faculty, the staff, but all those family and friends who must just be so proud of you today. But I know most significant is all the graduates that sit in front of me. I remember those days, and this is really your day. Congratulations. It is a chance to not only celebrate what you've done, but I hope it's something that you think more about is all your hopes and dreams for the future. So if I can add just one round of applause from all of us, family and friends, to the graduates. I'll start there. So today I want to share with you, in our short time together, 3 stories from my life. You won't be surprised that they share a theme that I call good power. But just think of good power as a way to use your influence to create the life you want for yourself and for others. Now, I'm going to share these very personal stories and their resulting lessons because I hope one day they might serve you well as you go out now and create the life you want and make a great imprint on the world. So let me begin with my first story. This one comes from my childhood. I grew up in a lower middle class family in a suburb of cold, windy Chicago. Okay, somebody else is cold. I'm the oldest. I have a brother. I have 2 sisters. We didn't have much money, but like so many other families around us, we got by, didn't notice it. But then one day, my father abruptly left my mother, and that would change everything. In fact, he not only left my mother, he left all of us. He gave her no money, never came to see us. At 34, just 34, my mother would find herself with 4 children, no home, no money, no education beyond high school, and no work experience outside the home. Probably to say she was heartsick and terrified is an understatement, though she never showed it. She had to find a way to keep a roof over our head, to keep us fed, and keep us in school. So at first, my mom got multiple hourly jobs. We had to go on federal aid and food stamps. I can still remember the pain when she would have to use her food stamps. But she soon realized the only way she could earn enough money to actually support us was she had to get a better job. But for that, she needed new skills. So she enrolled in a community college, and little by little, class by class, she gained enough skills to be an office manager. Our family was able to keep our house, get off of food stamps, and she kept learning and learning a little bit more, and eventually she'd manage a sleep clinic at a hospital. But my mother was so determined to never let my father's choices define her future or ours. She did not want to be defined as a victim. And through her actions, not through her words, we all learned that even when you have little else, you always have the power to define who you are. So, never let anyone else define who you are. That is my number 1 lesson for you. It has served me well, and I hope it serves you well, because no matter how much you go out and succeed, and you will, I guarantee you there will always be situations or people that will try to derail you from who you want to be. But you always have the power, always, to define who you are. Now, I have to tell you, by the way, my mom went on to have a very successful career. She managed a sleep clinic at that big hospital. And my brother and my sisters share among them 5 university and graduate degrees. And thank goodness for my honorary doctorate, or I would lose that race in total. So thank you for that. Helps at Thanksgiving. Now, my second story then comes to you from the middle of my career. But this is a different kind of story. This is a story about risk-taking. And it happened when I was a fairly young executive. The senior executive I worked for was going to be promoted. And he called me into his office, and he had great news. He wanted me to know that he wanted me to be the candidate to replace him. Well, he said to me, just go to the formal interview. Well, I can remember my action very well even today. I said to him, no, I am not ready. I need a few more years. There's so many more things I need to know. I need a little bit more experience. He said, go to the interview. Well, I went. I did okay. I got offered the job. So what do you think my response was? I said, I'd like to go home and talk to my husband. I remember he looked at me and he said, okay. Yeah, I almost cried when I left. I agree with that little one back there. I got home and I saw my husband, Mark. He's out there somewhere, of 43 years. And I sat there and told him the whole story and how I hadn't yet accepted the job. Mark looked at me and said, do you think a man would have answered the question that way? He said, I know you, Ginni. In 6 months, you'll be ready for something else. I said, you're right. Now, Mark's point, you might think it's about gender, but it's not. It was about choosing to have confidence in the face of risk. So the next morning, I went in, I accepted the job. My boss looked at me and he said, don't ever do that again. I said, I understand. But for me, this experience would crystallize one of the most important lessons of my entire life. It would be that growth and comfort will never coexist. Growth and comfort will never coexist. Because when you take a challenge and a risk, and I tell you it'll be true in your career, your life, your company, you will feel doubt, discomfort, but you know what? That is really good. That means you are learning something. I would begin to identify risks with growth. And then what you do is just force yourself to learn more. Ask questions, be curious, be willing to just learn something every day. And I heard President Snyder, you said this in your remarks, and I heard Provost Poon. It's all through everything I read about Loyola Marymount University. This encouragement of learning that you've experienced here, take it with you. And always remember you have the power to grow. So now my last story. Now my last story is about your purpose. Now, your purpose, all of our purpose. Now, purpose is the reason why we work, sometimes, aside from pursuing a passion or taking care of ourselves and our family. And I know, though, just as I said, Loyola Marymount University is a community that cares about equity, inclusion, diversity, and promoting justice. Now, there are many ways to impact the world and to make it more just. I'd like to share just one with you because it's become my purpose. So when I first became CEO, you mentioned it was in 2012, and I was the CEO of IBM. Now, so many of the technologies you think of commonplace today, they were really just emerging and accelerating, whether it was AI, the cloud, cybersecurity. And back then, IBM couldn't find enough people to hire to fill hundreds and hundreds of open cybersecurity jobs. Now, the shortage wasn't limited to us, wasn't just cyber, it was all of tech. And most people thought the convention was, look, the candidate pool just does not exist. At the same time, you may not remember this, some of you, unemployment in America was very high. 12 million people did not have jobs, and many were from underrepresented, lower income populations. And I remember thinking, how can this be? I've got all these unfilled jobs, yet there's so many unemployed people. I would dig deeper at that time, now go back all that time, and unfortunately, the 3 facts I discovered are still pretty much true today. First, employers like IBM had developed, you could call it a habit, of only recruiting people with traditional four-year degrees or a PhD for every single job. Second thing I would learn, I learned a lot of jobs don't actually require a four-year degree to get started. In fact, many had been over-credentialed by their employer. And then the third, I would discover about America, but true for every developed country in this nation, in this world, 65% of people don't yet have the degree you have, a traditional degree. So the facts add up to then, as they do now, a tragic reality. A huge swath of America is being left behind and left out of our workforce, out of a workforce to grow, feed, take care of a family of four. So at IBM, I had us look pretty hard at our own processes, our hiring processes, and we began making the changes to recruit people for skills and aptitude, not just a degree. So we started hiring from two-year colleges, tech boot camps, apprenticeships, other non-traditional education paths. We not only filled open jobs, but guess what? We discovered a very diverse new talent pool, one that, in my view, had been completely overlooked in the past. Okay, now you might be sitting here thinking, does she know where she's at right now? This is a university commencement. I do understand that, and here I am talking about people who don't yet have your degree. I understand we're honoring all of you as graduate students, and I want to be clear, I am a big fan of universities and colleges. Remember, my siblings and I now have 6 degrees among us, and I am vice chair at a university too. And there will always be jobs that demand the higher education you have and your post-degree. Higher education is, in my view, essential for humanity and society to thrive. And so the world will always need what you've learned here. But I want you to remember as you go that people have different starting points in life. And where they start should not determine where they end. And that everyone should be valued for their skills, not just their credentials. I would learn from my mom that aptitude and access were 2 different things. My mom had aptitude, she had no access. And this is true for millions of people today. They're left out of the economy because they never had the resources to attend college. Aptitude is spread evenly, opportunity is not. But what if that could change? So today, you mentioned it, that's my purpose, to help other employers learn how to hire for skills as well as degrees, and something we call the Skills First movement. Hiring for skills first makes companies more competitive, inclusion, economic equality, social equality, and yes, Skills First is about justice. So it promotes more opportunities for more people. And I just don't think I'm exaggerating when I say democracy depends on a country's citizens believing their future is going to be better than their past because they have access to opportunity. So this is where you come in. You will leave this campus, you will join or you will rejoin the workforce with impressive credentials. And as you excel, you'll be in a position to do a lot of good, like hiring and promoting people based on their skills, not just their degree. And that leads to my last and my third lesson. I hope you use your power for a bigger purpose than yourself, and it is to create opportunity for others. So today, I say to you, the graduate class of 2023, whatever path you choose to take from this day forward, remember, you have the power to define who you are. You have the power to keep learning, keep growing, and you really do have the power to create opportunity for others. In total, you may not believe it, you have the real power to affect meaningful change in this world. So I congratulate you again, and to everyone out there who made this day possible for you, and I thank you for allowing me to be your speaker today. Thank you.